Yo, too, I got a major problem, man.
What happened?
Yo, you know how I moved out to the farm a few years ago?
Yeah.
Man, it's an old rinky-dink house. The roof is falling apart. Siding's coming off the wall. Man, you got anybody I can call?
Actually, I know exactly the person for that, for roofing and siding, and they can do your house, residential and commercial work.
Really?
Yeah, they're called Horizon Builders. They're started by local Hmong guys here in the Twin Cities, and they're your go-to guys.
Really? Hmong owned too?
Hmong owned, Hmong operated, and bringing value to Hmong people when it comes to reconstruction.
Hey, that's awesome, man. Yeah, because this is something I definitely don't want to DIY.
All right, so I'll get you the number, Horizon Builders.
Yeah, please do. So if you guys have any work that needs to be done on your residential house or commercial building at all, make sure you hit up Horizon Builders. They're a newer company, and they're out there doing a lot of great work. And we're very grateful for them for sponsoring us and just allowing us to kind of continue the work that we're doing here. So thank you.
Everybody, it's Tu and Peng on the No Eggs podcast once again. Today we are joined by Mai Kia Moua, flag football player for over a decade, cancer survivor, and mother, correct, too? Yeah. Okay, so the big thing for me is, my shop sponsors the Bellatrix team, and I reached out to the girls on that team and said, hey, is there anybody that you think would be interesting on our podcast? And they mentioned your name, and I was like, okay, what's the story? And then they said that you beat cancer. And so we've had another guest.
This is a big deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we were like, we want to highlight, we want to highlight that because there's so much around that. And I think, and that's why I really wanted to have you on today, is just to hear like your real story about what it is to go through something like that at such a younger age too, and the realities that you face when the announcement comes on and stuff like that. So we'll definitely dive into all of that.
Oh yeah.
For sure, to just find out more. But how's it going today? How's your day going? Sunday morning.
I just got back from practice.
Oh,
And
yeah?
Oh,
we
wow.
usually practice Thursdays, Sundays, Sundays from 9 to 12. And so I just went there just to visit and just run some drills with them.
Nice.
I mean, I wasn't physically running, but I was watching and then kind of just
Okay.
out with some drills. But the day's going well. Bit nervous, but I'm excited to be
Yeah,
here.
yeah. We'll try to make it as
It's
easy
pretty
as
casual,
possible.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's
So
really good.
you had mentioned like you did some drills. You're not running at the moment.
Well, I didn't want to look too messy.
Oh, okay.
Charlie,
Come on, look at
trying to
us.
come proper.
Like, my hair not
Yeah,
even
yeah,
done.
yeah. We're ghetto as hell too.
I'm in
Yeah.
crotch, so
Yeah.
don't worry.
No,
Yeah.
but then I do run with the girls. I try to get back into it. So
Okay.
it's been tough, but
Yeah.
like just going back out there and being able to run with them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
such a blessing.
Yeah, and we were just talking about so the team is called Bellatrix. It's a
Bellatrix.
Hmong flag football, a women's team that's been around since you were. So tell us about the beginning, because you said you've been there since the beginning, which you said started when you were 14. So what year did Bellatrix come around? And when did that
Yeah.
first
That's
start?
the original teams too.
Yeah. So I'll just say this first too. Shout out to you guys for being one of our sponsors.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And continuing sponsorship with us, and for offering this platform for me to come and
Yeah.
talk about the Hmong women's flag football team.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting. It's been around for a long time. I started playing when I was 14. So in Brooklyn Park, there's a few teams that just started, and I started playing with Osseo. So Osseo was in Brooklyn Park as well, and then Regulators was also a Brooklyn Park.
Oh yeah, Champlin. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so the Champlin boys was kind of coaching the Regulator girls.
Yeah. Yeah. I
and
played with
so-
them a long time ago. Okay. I wonder if
you
we
kinda know,
might have
yeah.
crossed paths.
Probably, yeah. And so like the Osseo girls were more from like Park Center.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we're that area. And then what got me into it, my boyfriend was playing. Oh, my husband now, but then boyfriend, he was playing. And so like they were doing a scrimmage, and I was like, let me go check it out. And so I went and checked it out. A lot of the girlfriends were there too, but then they were playing catch. And they're like, hey, you want to come play catch with us? I was like, yes, of course. I love football. And
Yeah.
so I started throwing around, and they're like, hey, they want to invite me to one of their practices. And so I went to Osceola's practice, and I was like, okay, this is my jam. Let me
Yeah.
start practicing. But then kind of just back up from that, like what got me into this sport. My parents got divorced when we were younger, and so what had happened was there were six of us, and my parents split right down the middle. I was luckily one of the oldest, right? And so I was stuck with the boys. Two older brothers. I was stuck with my brothers, and then my dad. And then three younger sister left with my mom.
Okay.
So I was always just out with the boys.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so like got really into sports. Are you guys from the St. Paul area?
Yeah,
from Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
Yeah, so
I'm
I
St.
know
Paul, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, which
Yeah,
time,
yeah. So I grew up east side St. Paul, and what we did was we would go to a rec center called Margaret. We will go and just play there and run around at the playground. And then one time, one of their coaches came and saw a bunch of Asian kids running around, right? And
Yeah.
was like, hey, do you guys want to play soccer? We're like, yes. And then he got us into all these sports. And so that's how I kind of developed like the interest in sports.
Gotcha.
And I was like the only girl on the team,
Yeah.
always just running with the boys, playing sports. And then football was the sport that I really got into. Like I can throw really good, I can run really fast, I can catch too. So I was like, I want to stick with this sport. But then,
Yeah.
like for girls, it's really hard to get into football.
Right.
And so I was just kind of more like backyard football with friends. And then moving to Brooklyn Park to live with my mom, that's how I got introduced to the Hmong Women's Flag Football League. And so I started practicing 2 years into Osseo. And then a lot of girls started retiring or started backing away from football. And then similar situation was happening with regulators. And so
Yeah.
we kind of connected. It was like, hey, let's start blending and let's
Yeah.
start this brand new team. And so we came out as Bellatrix in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then we just been here since.
Yeah, that's so crazy because like as you're saying that, like, because you know, I went to Patrick Henry. I graduated in '09, so like that was when flag football was super huge. You know, they had the
Yeah.
Lady Patriots, and then
Yes.
we saw, and then every school had like their group of like Hmong flag football players too.
Yeah.
So then like we would always like I remember like biking over and we'd play Osseo, we played Park Center, we'd go and play Champlin, and
Yeah.
for a little bit of time like I played with the Champlin boys. Like yeah, that man, like you saying all that just brought back so many good memories of
Flashbacks,
like
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
just like going out and hanging out at the park because we would always go to we'd be at like Meadowbrook. Man, what was the one? Where did you guys play out of? Osseo.
Palmer Lake.
Palmer
We
Lake?
did
Yeah.
Highland Park. We did Central.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's just crazy. Just hearing all
Yeah.
of that just brought back a lot of good memories.
Yeah, because I think too, like the new generation of kids, like they know, right? But they probably haven't heard these stories of
Yeah.
like 2010s and before, right?
Yeah.
Right, how it came
Yeah.
up because to the kids now it's almost normal. Like you go to J4 and there's that, but there's a time where there wasn't that, especially flag football. I think soccer has always been part of
Yeah.
Yes.
the J4 tournament. That's the original sport, but when it comes to flag football, 2010, when did J4 start doing women's flag football? Do you know?
I think
Like maybe 2006, 7, around that range?
06, 07.
Okay.
I didn't really watch sports at that
Right,
time
right.
either. So I'm thinking 06, 07. I know a lot of the teams started like 05, 06, but then I feel like the stage was opened up to us
Yeah.
around 07.
And so
Yeah.
you guys played as Bellatrix 2010. Did you guys play in that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So 2010, I feel like that's when we had like one of the most teams out there. There was like 16 teams,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and now we're like down to like 6.
Oh, is it?
really?
I was thinking like I was hoping that you were gonna.
Yeah.
I was
No.
hoping you were gonna tell me the other way around. Like
Yeah.
I was gonna be like, well, how big is it now? So
Well,
it's actually gotten smaller,
It
huh?
has, which
well-
sucks because I feel like a lot of the times when these organizations do tournaments,
Yeah.
they consider us like a low volume sport.
Yeah.
Where we're not bringing too many
Right.
fans or too many audience to it, and so like it sucks because for us we're like, no, this sport is huge because
Yeah.
we're so passionate about it. We're so
Right.
committed.
Yeah.
We're so determined to like give this sport
Yeah,
a
yeah.
name, right? And so it sucks to be considered like a low volume sport still,
Yeah.
but then
What do you
like,
think why do you think there's less teams? You think it's just the newer generation of kids are a little different?
I think
Okay.
I think it is, and the sport itself is just really hard.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it's really
yeah.
competitive.
Yeah.
You don't get paid to play this game. If you get hurt, you're not insured.
Yeah, it's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, then also like you guys also a lot of the teams consolidated, right? Like because eventually I remember there was a point where there was a lot of teams. Like every school had their own team, and then eventually it was just like, unfortunately, like if you're good enough, then you go and play for one of these bigger teams.
Yeah,
you just get
yeah.
recruited into it.
and
Yeah.
same thing. Like if we all live in the same area, let's just play together.
Yeah. Yeah, I just I'll give you guys your prop too because I used to play a lot of flag football too, and so like the women's sports, you guys were the women's flag football team. You guys were always more disciplined. You guys actually practiced. The guys just like would always just mess around at the park or whatever, but you guys actually had like practices. And we were talking before the podcast, like one of my biggest frustrations like playing the sport was like just wasn't organized. Like there'd be, you'll have your set core group at practice and then everybody will go to practice. But then when it came time for like game day or tournament day, you have like 10 other people that you've never seen
Yeah.
at practice
Yeah.
just show up, and they'll get to like, maybe I just sucked, but they'll start in front of you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then they get like a lot of playing time, and it's like, yo, I've never even seen you,
Yeah.
Right,
but you're
yeah.
the coach's brother or you're so and so's like family member, and then it became like not fun because
Right.
then there was like a lot of fighting.
There's a lack of organization.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let me ask Bellatrix on you guys' side. And I can understand both
Yeah.
sides, right?
Yeah.
When you're just looking for players, if you're good, we're trying to win, so I get it. But how's you guys' structure like at Bellatrix? Are you guys more like, no, there's like even though you're good, you got to earn the respect and then you get to play,
Yeah,
or is it
yeah.
like, nah, you're good, just play, like
No, for us, it's definitely there's a system, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So if you want your position, there's commitment, first of all.
yeah,
Come to practice. If you're practicing with us, you're on time, we can count on you at practice. We can see that you're growing in your
Yeah.
position as well. Then you'll be the first group, right? The starters,
Yeah.
we will say. And so like a lot of times is you have to put yourself in that mindset where there's always somebody that's going to be better than you. There's always somebody
Right.
faster, somebody smarter, somebody stronger. So if you really want that position, you have to put in work.
yeah,
So we're not seeing that you're putting work.
yeah. You ain't
Yeah.
gonna play, yeah.
Not like you're not gonna play, but we need you to be putting in work inside
Right.
and outside of practice.
yeah,
then.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you really want to be able to go on that stage. with,
Yeah, yeah.
like the rest of the girls. And so for us, it's kind of like a system where we have to check off. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
here, you're committed, you're passionate about it, you're learning, then
Yeah.
yes.
Well, the nice thing is you guys have been around a long time, so in
like a
in all,
culture.
yeah, in all those years,
Yeah.
you create a culture and you create a system of like, no, we don't really stand for that because we've been doing it so long that we every year we figured out something more
Yeah.
about like how we
Yeah.
run this team,
Yeah.
and you're one of the. I mean, you're one of the OGs on the team,
Yeah.
You've been there
Oh,
14
wow,
years, like you
yeah.
said. So
Yeah.
you've seen all the people come and go. Here's a question: How much time do you usually get with a person? Because like you said, no health insurance, it hurts, it's painful, you don't get
Yeah.
paid. So how long does most people see come and go? What's the longest you can expect a player to stay on average? Like two seasons, maybe 3 seasons?
I don't know. A
Yeah.
lot of me and the older girls, we've been
Yeah, not you, because you've been
playing
there
for
from the
like-
start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
since birth.
But I'm saying,
Yeah.
since you've seen a lot come and go, so is it
lot,
like maybe
yes.
2 summers you get out of them, 3 summers out
I
of
would
them?
say max is 5.
5? Yeah,
Okay.
5's pretty good run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 would be
Yeah,
yeah,
that's pretty
5
good
is
run.
usually a good number for a lot of us. A lot of the girls that do come and play, they either move on to a different sport or they move on with life.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
kind of
So like, what would you say? How has Hmong flag football changed since it started? Because like back then it was the wild, wild west. You did anything and whatever, join whatever team. But like, how has it changed?
I feel like not much has changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you can say. But then I feel like there's bigger platforms for us
Okay.
to perform
Yeah.
on now. Like Icheng, they're
Yeah.
huge,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
They're
yeah.
huge sponsors for Hmong flag football.
Mm-hmm.
And so like they're always throwing tournaments, they're engaged with the community, they connect with everybody well. And so I feel like that is a big change in itself.
Mm.
And I know that for J4, we've always talked about like, do we go and play at the international J4 tournament, or do we branch off, and do our own thing as
Right.
like the Hmong flag football community? And so that could be something that's in the talks.
Yeah.
Are
So-
there? Yeah, go.
So that was always like when I was playing, like that was always the Super Bowl. Is that not the case anymore?
Is J4 not the
Yeah,
one?
yeah, that they called it the big dance
Yeah.
back in the day. I don't
Yes,
know.
yeah.
Is that
It's tough to say. It's tough to say because I don't want to discredit them too.
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
They have support a lot of sports as well, but I feel like it's just kind of dying down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a little bit. Like I always go there. Like people always say, "Are you going to J4?" I'm like, I don't play any sports, but I'm gonna go just to see because
Yeah.
I'm curious to see. And I have seen I don't know if it's the generation. Older people just got older and they're not coming anymore, and the young people are like, "I'm not going there. It's nothing for
Yeah.
me there." Unless the ones that are playing sports. The ones that are
Yeah.
playing sports,
Yeah.
I'll show up, right? And they
Yeah,
bring their
yeah.
friends along. But then everybody else,
Well, it's free now.
yeah, and it's gonna be
Free
free
this
this
year.
year. I heard, yeah.
Yeah.
So you said last year J4 had 6 teams for flag for the women's?
If I remember correctly.
That's
yeah.
crazy. From 20 at one point? Or like 18, 20, 16 in
Yes.
that point?
In the teens.
Yeah, in the teens.
Yeah, in the teens. And then we're like down.
Does the competition feel stiffer with less teams? Like is it consolidate, like did everybody consolidate the better players into less teams, or do you think it was better when there was a lot of teams and you got a taste of like different styles on the
I feel
field?
like it was better when we had a lot of teams.
Yeah, just a lot of
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
Because
Differences.
Because then we're not having girls sit on the sideline.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
So many of us just sitting on the sideline waiting to play.
Yeah.
And then with having a lot of teams, there's so many talents that's being showcased.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And we're not like just waiting, right? And so
Yeah. How big is Bellatrix? How many girls are in there?
right now with our new season going on, I would say about 40 of us.
Okay.
40.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot of
Yeah,
that's
big
a lot
number.
of girls to
Yeah.
get together to play.
And,
So
and I would say it's a new generation of
yeah,
girls,
it's a
too.
new
So
wave.
Yeah.
A lot
And,
of teaching and coaching and
and I would say that now, like, you said you were 31, 32.
32, yeah.
How's that now? Like, are you still able to keep up with these young kids? Like,
No, okay, I don't know what they're eating, but they're so tall and
Yeah.
fast and
No,
strong.
it's just
Like,
because
what?
they're teenagers, man.
Yeah.
You know, they're still 18. They be
I
running
mean,
for fun.
Yeah, they can play 5
sore.
games today and show up tomorrow and still be good to go.
Right,
You
yeah,
know?
no, me and the vets, we're always joking like, hey, our knees used to work like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We used to be able to juke like that.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but now we're just like, if we fall, then we're kind of done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got like 5 good plays in me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's leadership from the top, from the back, and the sideline.
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of girls that on the younger side that have shown like good leadership too, like that have
Yes.
the stand
Yeah.
out and be like,
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
take some responsibility.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and then we have a few that's really, really fast,
Yeah.
really strong, really like just in tune into like the flag football itself too. So
Yeah.
it's exciting,
Yeah.
especially growing in the sport and like learning what I've learned and then being able to teach it.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's been exciting.
Well, it's like what we were saying earlier, or what you and I were talking about, where it's kind of cool because being that you've been there for 14 years, there's that leadership aspect of like being able to play with girls that are a lot younger, and they won't look at you as like just an older person. They'll look at you as like a teammate. And
Right.
so that gives you that connection where you can like, you can cross life and sports together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and still like respect each other because we're still bleeding on the same field,
Yeah,
going for
yeah.
the same goal.
I would
So
say
that's kind of cool.
a lot of balance and boundaries. Just opening the team to the girls to create that comfort level. with
Yeah,
them
yeah,
and,
yeah,
like,
for sure.
be able to engage with them and then connect with them at a certain level where they're like, hey, I can trust you. I can ask
Right,
you
right.
for support. I can come and then, if there's anything wrong, I can, pick up on some criticism from you guys and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then learn from it too. Sometimes if we're going at it too aggressively,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're like, F this team.
yeah.
Right.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to be here.
Was
Yeah.
it more aggressive back then, or is it less aggressive now with the new generation, or it's the same
I-
culture, or
I don't know. I feel like it's same culture.
yeah,
Yeah.
For me, like just my version of it, like growing up, I was always passionate about football.
yeah,
So it's always easy for me to ask questions, reach out for support, work outside of practice to
Yeah.
be able to get that starting position. So for me, it's always been something that I've always willing to do.
Yeah.
But it could be different for other players.
yeah,
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of personalities.
Yeah.
40
Yes,
people,
yes,
40
yes.
people.
Can I ask you this too? Like, as you slowly start to age out, I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry to say that, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like, does your role in the team change? And then like, how do you deal with that psychologically? Like, cause there's younger people, more
Yeah.
energy. It's like, how does that make you feel like as an athlete, like, and one of the starters in this?
It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
And then realizing like, damn, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
and
I-
you're a mother now. Yeah.
And like one of me and my friend, we were like, yeah, we used to go to shows, we would do this, like like all these indie EDM music shows. too,
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
And she's like, yeah, we're old now. I was like, I don't want to admit it because
Yeah,
that would
yeah.
be sad. But then it's also exciting because you gave so much of yourself into it.
Yeah,
And then being able to step back and just watch.
yeah,
Damn.
Yeah.
yeah.
Came a
You
long
you
way.
made this.
Yeah.
You were part of the creation of that.
There's a lot of value in. I think we all go through that. We're all around the same age, and I think this age, like the 30 to 35, is kind of that window where you're like, okay, I'm not like a young buck. I can still throw down, but
Yeah.
it's gonna hurt
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Right. Let me
And-
take a few days off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like both of you also have kids, so it is a transitionary stage that's kind of goofy. I feel like the early 30s because you're kind of like you can kind of still fit in both sides, right? You
Right.
could
Yeah.
fit in with the 40, 50s, and you can also fit in with the 20s because it's not so far that you forgot. It's
Yeah.
not so far. You can still like relate pretty well.
Right.
But it's definitely a goofy stage. But I think where I seek or where I find value is like I hate it to be the old man who talks not down but like
Yeah.
shares wisdom. But I found a way to do it where we can still do that without sounding like how we didn't. Sometimes we didn't like it hearing it from the OGs, so we can still play that OG role, but in our own way. Maybe
yeah.
more open minded,
Right, right,
what are you struggling with? They're like, and so we can still. There's value in that, like
Yes,
leadership,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I imagine that naturally it comes for you there too, just because you've been there so long, right?
Yeah.
So whether or not you want to, I think they're probably going to turn to you at some point and be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you've been here the longest."
Yeah.
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 Do you find yourself doing more coaching now, or are you still one of the starters?
I'm trying to
Yeah,
be.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, so you, yeah. So
Yeah.
hey, that's good. I like to
Hey.
hear that you
Like,
still got to
that's
fight.
competition right
Exactly.
there,
I like to
right?
hear that you
Yeah.
still got to fight for it because that's
Yeah,
at the end of the day, that's sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Age is not a number; it's
Right,
performance.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm trying to be, but I do find myself stepping back more and just kind of like teaching, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
coaching now too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's awesome though. Like, unfortunately, that's
Yeah.
that's some of the reality, right? But yeah, like I love the fact that you're still after it though.
Yeah, being
yeah.
part of the group too.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people phase out.
Yeah. No, my mom's always like, again,
Yeah.
going back.
Year after year,
Yeah,
year
yeah,
after
yeah.
year.
Like, katuya itu, nya, katu mo minyota, why are you going back? I was like, because I love it.
Yeah. No, but it's good too. I feel like, even if you're like 40, 45, just doing active stuff, like it's never bad for your children
It's
to
good for
see
your
that.
health.
Yeah, for your health too.
Yeah.
And it's a good lifestyle to just be like, I'm out doing some,
Yeah.
you know?
Right. Yeah.
And
So,
you need something to be passionate about it. And like I'm a father too now. Like I think it's good for our kids to see that we're like still passionate about something. We're still building something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's like I don't know how old are your children?
10 and 11.
okay, so
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
they're like, they're
So
watching
seeing
you.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're able. Yeah,
Yeah, they're watching
I'm
you.
assuming. Do you take them out to practice with you?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I just my son. We just recently got him into football too,
Nice.
so
Okay.
he will like watch film. He
Yeah.
will study everything. He watched the Vikings very closely, so he
Yeah.
was like really into the draft.
Yeah.
They're drafting right
Yeah.
now. And he's like so excited. He loves it, but then you're a mom, so you're not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And I was like,
Never
"Kids,
cool.
y'all
Yeah.
just don't know how cool
Yeah.
your mom
Yeah,
is."
yeah,
See me on the
yeah.
field.
For
Yeah,
real,
see me on the
yeah.
field.
And I'll be showing them like my clips too. I was
Yeah.
like, can y'all do that?
Yeah.
What's up?
That's
But it's cool that
awesome.
they get to see that because we didn't see our parents do that really,
Right,
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
cool for them. It's gonna give them a whole different perspective on like life. Like, yeah, you can play sports when you're older. My mom's older;
Yeah.
she plays sports, so
Yeah.
they'll grow up with that in their mind, and that's important, you
Yeah.
know, for them to just know
Right.
that.
Yeah, and they're like, "Ew, mom's 30." I was like,
Yeah,
30
Yeah, 30
Yeah.
ain't even that. Yeah.
Yeah.
30 ain't even that
Yeah,
old.
right.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's okay. We were kids once. We thought the same thing.
For real.
Yeah.
We were like, damn, you
Oh.
old as hell. What are you doing at the club, man? You're
Yeah.
too old to be
I
here.
remember-
That's me now.
Yeah, I remember
now I'm the
being
old
20,
guy.
21 and being at the club being like, what is this 30 year
Bro.
old doing here?
Yesterday,
You know?
yesterday I went to North Loop in Minneapolis downtown, and we went to a joint that was like a bunch of 22-year-olds. I literally sat there for half an hour, and I was like, "Yo, guy, I'm gonna leave." 'Cause
Yeah.
The,
Now
the,
I'm
the
that old
vibe, the
guy.
vibe is too high, and I'm
yeah.
feeling calm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Me, I feel like I'm such a late starter to like going out
Mm-hmm.
because right off of high school, I went to college, and then me and my husband we got married, and then we had our kids. So I was just like,
yeah, you
I was
had a
just
parent, yeah.
stay-at-home
Yeah.
mom the whole time. I was in school, and then I was doing a lot of football too, and so once I was able to like kind of settle down on what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go
Yeah.
out, let's go have fun, let's go explore. And and
Yeah.
now that I want to go out, all my friends are like,
Yeah.
nobody
We're
wants to do
tired.
that.
Yeah,
You know, I think it's always funny too. Like some people be like, "Yo, I don't understand why this person's partying when they're older and shit like that." But
Yeah.
I'm like, everybody's at different timelines,
Different
Yeah.
right?
stages.
Yeah, like I
yes,
started,
yeah.
I was drinking when I was like 14, 15, like pretty early on. So by the time that I'm 24, I'm already like, I still party, but I toned down. But like, I know my sisters, they're like pretty good with not drinking or partying till maybe 21, 22. So then
Yeah.
their party stage lasted the same length of time as me, but later.
Yeah.
And some
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
it's even later, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, shit, I think you should have a period where you just party it up. I mean, you can't
Yeah,
just be
have a good
serious all your
time.
life.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Enjoy some. But so we've talked a lot about the football. Let's talk about the cancer journey, right? Because
Yeah.
Yes.
that's the part that
Yeah.
that I want to learn from
Right,
as
yeah,
well.
Yeah. Because you're 32. When did you
Yeah,
first
how
hear
old?
about that? Because you're young. Like,
31, so just last year.
Oh, just last year.
just last year.
Yeah, y'all see my hair? Like,
So
started just growing
this
back
was
out.
fairly recent.
It is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what do you mind sharing what kind of cancer it was?
It was
Or-
breast cancer.
Oh, breast
Yeah.
cancer.
Stage 2 breast cancer.
Okay.
Okay.
And how do you? So was it? So okay. So first of all, so let's educate the people who are listening. For breast cancer, at what age for females do the doctors start saying like, hey, pay attention to it?
Yeah,
Is it any
they
age?
want you to start checking it and doing like mammograms around 40.
Oh, around
Yeah.
40.
Oh, so they weren't even.
So how do you identify like for yourself? What's the experience like? Is it just like, oh, there's a lump and this is weird, or were there
Funny
actual?
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're asking. But the way I found out, or we found out, me and my husband, we found out, we're really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were wrestling, and then he felt it, and then I was like, what do you mean? I thought he
Right.
was
Yeah.
joking, right? And then I started rubbing it, right, my chest, and then I felt the lump too, and then my heart just dropped. I was like, what the?
Yeah.
And did you know right away when you felt that? Or
No, because it can be just a non-cancerous tumor.
Okay.
Right.
So that can happen as well.
yeah.
And so I got really scared because my aunt passed away from breast
Okay.
cancer.
Mm.
And so like I was like, maybe it's in genetics.
Yeah.
Right, right, of course.
Maybe I could have it too, but maybe it's not. And so like right away I called the doctors, I made my appointments, went in to get checked in, and just the week we found out, that weekend was our Bellatrix annual cabin trip too.
Okay.
So like a lot of just talking, mingling, a little liquor, here and
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
May not,
The
yeah.
usual, the
Yeah.
usual. Yeah.
And so I did share with a few of the girls, and like I was crying a lot too.
Yeah.
I was so scared. Like,
Yeah.
why now? Like, why? Like,
Right. At 31, right?
yeah.
At 31.
And then it's just like everything came flashing by too, because I just graduated with my master's.
Oh, well, congratulations on
Yeah.
that.
Thank you. And then we just bought our house.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna start my like big girl
Right.
club,
So when
too.
everything is on the up,
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's like
Yeah.
and then
life.
We found the tumor. I had the cabin trip with the girls, and then that week after was like, let's go get assessed. Let's go figure this out. Let's go have my biopsy, right?
Yeah.
My mammogram, my biopsy. Let's go see what it was. And so like for me, I'm a really positive person.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like to just stay positive. I'm gonna cry already, but
Yeah.
Oh.
and so like that following Friday, we got the news, and the doctor's like, it came back positive. Like
Yeah.
my biopsy came back positive, and she's like, yes, you do have breast cancer. I was just silent the whole time. I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the biopsy is they're taking a sample, right?
Yeah. So they
They-
numb your area, and they put like a pretty long needle
Yeah.
to get a piece of it, and then they go and test it, and then they kind of
Okay.
just reach back out. Like,
Is that the first thing, and then they do an MRI after, or how does
Yep,
that work?
yep, so-
Because MRI is just to find out how big it's gotten, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and then to see if it's
Anywhere else.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we received the news. I feel like my husband took it the hardest.
Yeah, yeah.
because It's like you see yourself with this person for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah. In your head,
Yeah.
it's till the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, damn, it can be cut so short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you make all these plans, all these goals, all these things together, and then all of a sudden, like, you get this news that you're not ready to like receive. It's just, it hurts
Yeah.
and it sucks, because my first thing I thought about was my kids.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
They're so young.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Do you tell your kids right away or something like that? What do you?
I
Yeah.
had to collect myself first.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
And how long did that take?
um
Just to like, okay, this is what I have. This is what's happening. Like, how long does that even take?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
yeah.
sure it's different for everybody, but
Yeah.
how long did it take for you?
For
from
me,
from the moment sitting in that chair and they're like, "Yep, it's
Yeah.
positive." Like, how much time did it take you to be like, "Okay, we have to
Yeah.
do something here"?
so right after the phone call, I was
Oh, it's a phone call.
yeah, no,
It's a phone call. Okay.
so the phone call from the doctor.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So the phone call from the doctor, right after that, me and my husband kind of had like just this silent moment where we're just kind of like, damn.
Yeah.
And collecting it and processing it. Like, this is what we got. What's the next steps? And I was
Yeah.
like, how are we going to tell the kids? That there's a possibility, because you never know with cancer,
Yeah.
like
Right.
anything can happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, thankfully, I've gone to school long enough that I'm able to really be mindful and use a lot of like self-care, and use a lot of just patience and reflective, journaling and things like that, to really help me be able to
Process.
like,
Yeah.
process, and then get back on my own foot. Like, okay, I'm ready. Let me go and do this, and get the kids involved, and let them know that mom's gonna start to look different.
Yeah.
Mom's gonna be more tired. Mom's gonna maybe be a little more irritated, be a little
Yeah.
more frustrated. But mom's gonna still be here.
Yeah.
And so they got off school, and they were running from the bus stop already. And I was like, how am I gonna
Oh,
how am I gonna tell them?
Yeah.
Because this is like it's the worst news ever. Like how are you gonna tell your kids that there's a possibility of you dying?
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was hard. But once they came into the room, right? And I told them like, remember when mommy and daddy found the lump? Mommy went and got it tested, and mommy's positive for breast cancer. And like they're still so young, they don't understand what is breast cancer. So we went through the stages of, is this? It can do this to your body. If mommy go through chemo, mommy's gonna look like this, and like mommy's gonna take a long time off of work, so daddy's the only one bringing in income, so we won't be able to go do a lot of activities, go out like how we used to, and so like, we just have to pull back a lot of things, and we had like a good crying session all together, and I was like, but mommy's still here. That's the
Yeah.
good thing. Like I'm still here. I'm still gonna support you guys. I'm still gonna try the best to do what I can to really still have fun, right? And
Yeah.
so like I love taking my kids out. I love spending time with them. I love being like present with them. And
Yeah.
so it took a lot, but
Yeah, I'm sure that's
Yeah.
just a hell of an adventure.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you, how was your staff? How was the doctor and the staff in support? Because sometimes I feel like some doctors can just be like so methodical of like, okay, we found you got
Yeah.
this, and now we have to do this, and now we have to do that. Were they also? Did you find that you had good support from them as far as like just being there? Because
Yeah,
sometimes it seems like to me, sometimes they just do their job and it irritates me because I'm like, yo, I'm a
Yeah.
human being too.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like, let's.
yeah.
But was your team or the people that helped you pretty good?
I feel like I have a great team.
Okay.
I go to St. Cloud Central Care,
Okay.
and their Coburn Healing Center for like cancer patients, and I feel like I have a great team. My oncologist is, I feel like she's fairly young too, so
Yeah,
we're able
right,
to connect
right.
really good. And so like if I have any like questions, where I consider like stupid questions,
Yeah.
she's always like, no, I'm up for it. And she's like, I can text her, I can message her
That's
through
awesome.
like my chart on my phone, and kind of just like, hey, I'm going through this. What can I do to uplift this, or what can I do to relieve myself from this kind of pain? And she's like, let me connect with like a therapist or like a counselor, and then I'll have them reach out, right? And
Yeah.
so she's, it's a good support system
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. So it's really good with them. I meet with her on Tuesday,
Yeah.
just to do my like my 6-month checkup.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and this is gonna be one of those stupid questions, but when they find the cancer and after they test it, are they able to like pinpoint maybe where it's from or how it came to be or
So yes, so they do test
Okay.
that. So for me, I am, so there's different kind of, I guess, diagnoses for cancer. And so for me, I have a very high level of estrogen. So my tumor and my cancer was through my high level of estrogen.
okay
Yeah, so estrogen can be from like things you eat, things pregnancy
Yeah.
too, yeah, things you eat, things you drink, anything that you intake, right?
Yeah.
And so if you have a high level and you're not able to regulate it, then it can turn into then cancer.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's what I have. And then stage 2, because it's a bigger tumor.
Okay.
So
And can you explain the different stages? Again, stupid question.
Yeah, no, but
Alright. I'm gonna ask
we don't all know this
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
either.
yeah.
Yeah.
So stage 1 is more so you find the tumor, but it's not. I say tumor at least 1 centimeter. I could be wrong
Okay.
too.
Yeah,
but, you know,
yeah.
like
But varying sizes.
yes, and then stage 1 is cancer that you can cure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? So you can go and get chemo, or you can go and get like
Can you just do a removal on stage 1?
yes.
Yeah, you
yes,
can just go
You
remove.
can
Yeah.
just remove, and then you'll be done. Stage 2, however, it comes to a point where it's bigger now. We may have to do chemo, we may have to do radiation, and then we may have to remove as well. And so that's what I had to do. And then stage 3 is more serious. It's not curable, but it's you're able to maintain it.
Right.
And so not letting it grow anymore. And then stage 4 is kind of like, it's difficult.
Yeah, stage 4 is like, whenever I hear stage 4, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's start preparing
You
for.
don't have much time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So luckily we were able to find it early. And we find it early right before I had to do chemo. We had went on a trip to Cancun too for my husband's 30th birthday. So again, everything just
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
right at the same time, which was crazy, but it taught us to be humble. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
so yeah, so we that's where I shared my news to my sisters in
Yeah.
Cancun. Like, way to
Oh,
ruin his birthday,
you,
right?
you wait. Yeah, you waited till
Oh.
Cancun.
Give me the attention.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So,
What a better place to tell you
Yeah.
something drastic.
but hey, let's go stack. Like let's go jump in the ocean.
But maybe it
Yeah,
makes the
yeah.
maybe it makes the trip more valuable because you're like, hey, this is what I'm
Yeah.
dealing with.
Yeah.
Now let's enjoy the shit out of this.
Yeah, let's go
Yeah.
get some tequila.
Yeah,
now.
let's
you
enjoy the
go.
shit out of it right
Yeah.
now. So then, so how does it work? So they gave you the call. Obviously, then you know have to tell the family all that stuff. That's a really tough battle. And then did the doctors automatically go into like, okay, well here's what we have to do.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
you just kind of go
So-
with what they say.
After the trip, we came back and we kind of just like, okay, we're in it. Let's do this. We schedule a full day of like just assessments with different doctors. So I met with like the genetics doctor to kind of just test to see if it's something that can be passed on. Because I do have a daughter too. So
Yeah.
if it's something that's
Yeah.
genetic, then we'll have to look out for her as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And so we had that done. We talked with the chemotherapist nurse doctor, and then we also talked to the radiologist as well, and then we talked to my oncologist. So my oncologist is the main doctor out of all of them, and so kind of just like setting in a schedule to kind of really look into the future. Like, this is what it's gonna look like. This is the stages. So we want you to be like prepared for them. If you have any questions, reach out, talk to us, and so that's kind of how it happened. And so for me, we started off with chemo first. So I did chemotherapy right off the bat after.
Like how soon after the
It's-
diagnosis did you start the
Yeah.
chemo?
So I was diagnosed in January, and then I started chemo in February.
And
Okay.
chemo is
Yeah.
radiation, correct?
Nope,
Mm,
radiation.
okay, so
and
it's
chemo is
different.
two different things.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
so
can you explain chemo?
Yeah, so chemotherapy is more of a medicine that they put into your veins.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a drug, and I still have my chemo port
Okay.
here.
Okay.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
like insert a port in you, and then they will like then infuse you with the chemo drugs that they
Yeah.
have for you that will possibly work to kill off the
Yeah.
cancer. And then radiation is then they put your body through more like an MRI machine,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right? And
and they
then they kill it
blast
through
it.
like
Yeah, through the heat waves. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and so like that's the difference of it.
Did they ever show you what's all in that chemotherapy? Like what that medicine? Like, do they show you the full list of what all it is?
Yeah, yep.
How big is that list of things in that juice?
Yeah.
So it's a high level, so we have to kind of be able to balance it out. So a lot of the times they give me steroids too, just so my body's prepared for all this kind of medicine that's gonna
Yeah.
be infused into my body. And so I will do steroids for an hour first, and then the next hour I will do then the chemo. So I'm there like 4 hours a day.
4 hours a day.
For how long?
Yeah, for how long in that week, for example?
So once a week for 4
Once a week
hours.
for
Okay.
4 hours.
Yeah, and then y'all, like the medicine, the chemo was just so draining.
Yeah. Can you explain that? Like in which ways? Like tired?
Yeah.
Like how?
So there's so many different side effects to it. It'll make you tired. It'll make you very sick, like
Yeah, nausea.
And then it'll also just kind of like make you irritated about everything. Like
Yeah.
it kind of just switch your mood too. So if you're like not sleeping, or if you're not like getting enough kind of just like food in your system
Yeah.
too, then you can like be so frustrated. And for me, like luckily I was able to process what I was going through, and then kind of just like sit down and like realize if I like feel this certain way, I need to like handle it quickly,
Right.
or it's gonna like then just last longer, and then I'm gonna feel some type of way, and then I'm gonna be even more frustrated, and then that's gonna be going towards my kids or my husband. And,
Yeah, so you
yeah.
had a good ability to like process your own thoughts and feelings and then act upon what you're feeling as opposed to just going with the feeling.
Yes,
Like
yeah.
you had a, but I think you probably have to do that. I mean, I'm sure you have to do that because you're a mother too, you know? So it's
Yes.
like you can't just freak out on everybody
Mm-hmm.
because you're not feeling well, even though you want to freak out on everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's, yeah. And so, so then let's talk about the process of like when you go through the chemo. Is it just so you do it weekly, and then at the same time every week they're just retesting? Is that how they pretty much gauge what's happening?
Nope. So we don't retest. Not until the end of chemo.
Oh, so you almost commit to a period in time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So chemo was 6 months. So every week for 6 months, I lost my hair.
Yep.
Oh, I still remember it. I had really long red hair too.
Yeah.
And so when first week of chemo, they're like, be prepared because it's gonna start coming off.
Damn.
And so-
That fast, huh?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I didn't start losing until the third session.
Okay.
And the third session, you could just run your hand through, and it was just coming off.
That's got to be so psychologically like crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I love my hair. Like I love
Yeah.
my hair.
Yeah.
I took great care of my hair, and when that day happened, like I remember just not even screaming, but like crying so loud in the
Yeah.
bathroom. And then my kids came in. They're like, "Oh my god, what's wrong? What's wrong?" I was like, "My hair, like
Yeah.
it's coming off." And so like they saw me, and they're just like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Yes." So all the hair came off. We ended up shaving my head.
Okay.
And then I was like, "Yep, this is
The
the
new
new me."
me,
But
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
luckily I had a very cute round head. So
Yeah.
Hey,
I didn't
You didn't have the
Yeah.
I didn't-
weird mushroom
You're
top
right.
or nothing
Yeah.
crazy.
I just know, man.
Yeah.
If I ever had kids,
Yeah, I'm wearing a hat because my
it'd be
shit looks
rough.
weird.
I got lumpy hair.
I got a big ass head.
Yeah, and then you're like, my mom's like, "So more," and she's like, "Wear a hat or cover it." I was like, "Why?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be
It's
proud.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, be proud of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so also like appetite and stuff like that. You like did it kill your appetite for
didn't
eating?
eat.
Yeah. So did you
didn't
lose a
eat.
lot of weight through that
I
process?
didn't though,
Oh, you didn't.
Okay.
because I was
The
still
drugs
retaining
almost
a lot
water.
of water.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I felt more like I gained weight.
Okay.
Yeah, but then I really didn't.
But not
eat.
eating, yeah.
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 Which is hard because like sometimes that like medicine that do that, it's like it's fighting one thing, but now you're not eating, so you're not getting the nutrients you need
Yes, yeah.
to fight it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's and
Did
so
they?
yeah.
Oh, did they encourage you to try to eat
Yes.
then, or
yes,
okay?
Yes. And I tried. Like it's just, I just didn't have an appetite. Like I
Yeah.
just didn't want to eat. I just.
And
didn't
you
wanna
probably
look
were
at
you even
food.
able to retain the food anyway, even if you did try, like, or would it just come
Yeah,
back out?
So the thing is, it was like really bad morning sickness.
Yeah.
I hated it. Yeah, it was really bad morning sickness, but I've never vomited. I
Okay.
just felt like
Like
it.
shit, yeah.
So like trying to eat and then feeling like that is just
Yeah,
like,
you probably just like I'm not
you
gonna
know
eat.
what?
Yeah.
Put that food away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the hard part. I feel like I was drinking a lot more of what I was intaking, so a lot more smoothie, a lot more juice, a lot more water. Yeah.
Okay, so you said the chemo treatment plan was 6 months. So every week for 6 months, we went in, got the injection, and then at the end of the 6 months, then we did all the same tests that you had done, preliminary tests,
Yes.
to see
Yes.
how far we've gotten.
Yep. So after the 6 months, I ended right after July 4th weekend.
Yeah.
And so went back in, did my last chemo, and then the following week I would go back in and then get everything tested again. I will go back in, do my biopsy and do my MRI again.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yes, chemo worked because it shrunk the tumor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the good thing. And then our next step then is to do a bilateral mastectomy, so removal
Yeah,
of both
yeah.
breasts.
Yeah.
And so they're like, so did you want to remove one or did you want to do two or how did you want to do it? I was like, take them both. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take them. And so we then mid-July schedule our surgery into August. And so July was kind of just like my free time to no more drugs.
Yeah.
Let me clean my body. Let me kind of just prepare my mindset to seeing this new version of me. And so July, we took the kids to Wisconsin Dells. We did some camping trip. We took them out a lot and kind of just like be able to focus on making sure they have fun. Because after I have surgery, we'll just probably be at home, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
So,
And that was this July.
July
Pretty
much.
23?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this
July
is
23? Yeah,
yeah, like
so
last week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
so
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
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 So
very
crazy.
fresh, yeah.
Isn't it? Isn't
Yeah.
it crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like we did all that and then we went to surgery. I'm so thankful that surgery went great.
Yeah.
Surgery went great. I was able to be mobile quickly as well. And then the nurses are like, "Wow, how are you doing this?" I was like, I don't know. Like, I feel really positive. I feel good. Like, I feel like I can do a lot of things by myself." So we stayed at the hospital for like 2 days, and then we were able to come back home, and we were home. I have friends that came to visit. Friends that came and visit, family that came and visit, and most of the time I was just like knocked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that medicine, yeah.
Did you have any like post-operational physical therapy or anything like that?
I
or-
did. So typically they will want you to go and get checked up just to see how you're doing. So for me, they removed both breasts and then they also took some of my lymph nodes under my armpit. So it was my left breast here. And so they took some of my lymph nodes under my armpit here just to go get tested. Luckily, there's nothing
Yeah.
there too. And so what it does is that it kind of then take a part of your muscle
Yeah.
from your chest and then from your armpit. And so like I would have to do physical therapy whenever
Yeah.
like doing arm workout and like
Yeah.
push-ups and things like that. But I have to like slowly bring my weight back up.
Yeah.
And so it was tough.
Yeah.
Tough because you know like for me I was a really independent person. I did a lot of things by myself. I worked out a lot. I played sports. I did a lot of things for myself, and then for me to be in this position where I always have to ask for help, like it's
Yeah.
not me, but
Yeah.
I need to be able to like, you need to do it though. You're at the point in your life where you need that support. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so going through all that, how soon? So after the removal, which how long was the removal after they said that the like your biopsy came out like it was negative? Like was the surgery like directly right after? Like or is like
No.
is or yeah.
yeah, so it was a negative, but then
It was just smaller.
Yeah, it was just
Okay.
smaller. Yeah, and so we scheduled it right after.
Right
Like,
after.
right after we sat down and kind of talked about like, this is what we found out. This is the result of it.
'Cause that's all you can do, right? It's just a
Yeah.
removal, right?
Yeah,
You can't.
removal. You can either go into so after the removal, I did go get it tested again. I went through another MRI, just to see if I needed radiation.
Right.
So radiation will be the next step if it's
Right.
still in there.
Yeah.
And so luckily I didn't.
Yeah.
But then I still have like a few kind of cells kind
Right.
of lingering around
Yeah.
around my shoulders, and so that's why I'm currently still on medicine. So
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
remission.
Yeah.
So still have some cells in me that's cancer related. So
Yeah.
I'm on tamoxifen. So it's a drug that can help regulate my estrogen.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll be on that for the next 5 years.
Ooh.
Okay.
Do
they-
those have big side effects for you or
Oh, my
not? They
goodness.
still do.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So the biggest one that I struggle with the most is joint and muscle pain.
Ooh,
Like
yeah.
my knee sucks.
Yeah.
Like I was like, maybe it's old age, but I was like, but it was
Yeah.
working before.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Less
so
than a
it-
year ago. Yeah.
It was before it was my shoulder. Like I could barely lift my shoulder, and then
Yeah.
I got acupuncture done, and then my shoulder is so much better.
Okay.
Like I'm
Yeah.
more mobile here, and then now it's my knee, and it's just like I want to be up and running with the girls. Like I want to be able to walk. I want to be able
Yeah.
to climb up my stairs at
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it sucks because I remember one time where I was struggling so much walking. I called my doctor and I was crying to her. I was like, is there like an alternate medicine that I can
Right.
take? Because I'm too young to be able to feel like I'm not capable of doing anything.
Right.
And she's like apologizing, like there's nothing much that we can do, but then we can give you more medicine. I was like, I don't want to be taking more medicine.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm already taking like 5 different kinds. And then on top of that, she wants me to take Tylenol too. I was like, no, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So how long? I mean, how long after your surgery, like, was the healing process? Like, because you seem to be moving well, and like you said, you were.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said you were
at
just at practice. Like,
practice. Yeah, you were
wait,
just-
that was like
yeah.
6 months ago. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. For me, I feel like I healed really quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, the area is still really numb. which is something that is supposed to be like, right? And so I did a few weeks of PT, and then I was able to do some alone by myself at home. And then they would call and check up on me too, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
how's everything going? And I would just kind of give them updates, like, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling fine. I we have like a in our basement we set up like a little gym for ourselves too, and so like I will work out a lot too, and so I'm like, the great thing is that I'm mobile and I like to be
Yeah.
able to be
Yeah.
mobile, so I'm focused on my fitness a lot, and so I think that's the big part of keeping myself being able to like heal
Yeah, yeah.
quickly, and then also just being able to go back to my lifestyle where
Yeah.
I'm out and about. And so healing wise, I feel like I'm doing a great job healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no concerns. I went and saw my doctor back in December, and she looked at my scars and everything, and she's like, I'm healing fine. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have most of your motor skills back now? And-
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Like I
How-
can swing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So you throw
Yeah.
so,
Can
like,
defend yourself.
how how have you felt, like, has this affected like your I mean, obviously it affected, but like your football ability, but like do you still see it, or
Yeah, I mean, I can't run as fast anymore, but there's something that I can always work on, like
Yeah.
conditioning. Like
Yeah.
I'm not too worried for that.
Okay.
My arm strength though is definitely a lot weaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot weaker.
Yeah. Cuz like I'm sure they just removed a lot of your pectoral muscles.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff with
So
that.
it's a lot weaker, but then again, it's something that I can always work on too. Like for me, like I'm always, if there's something that I say I want to work on it, I always put my foot down and work on it.
Yeah.
And so
That's great.
it's always something that you can grow and learn to
Yeah.
really rebuild yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the fact that it came at such a young age, and obviously we're still in the healing process,
yeah.
right? This is so recent, and I don't even know if you're where you are, mentally past it and stuff like that. But can you just share with us like what it's really taught you at like such a young age to be like, holy shit, and then it's happened so soon. And I know it's gonna take more time to process, right?
Yeah, I
Because
know.
your opinions will change about it maybe
Yeah.
2 years down the road, 3 years down the road. But now as we stand today, like what's it changed? Like what's it taught you? You know,
About life.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I've always been a very humble person.
Yeah.
Just because my upbringing was so hard already.
Yeah.
So I was like, anything can happen, right?
Yeah.
So I've always appreciated life, but now I just appreciate it so much more because
Yeah.
I still get to be present. But for me, like when I first got the news, I went to such a dark place. Not to the place where I'm like, just kill me now, but
Yeah.
it's the place where like I've been through so much shit already. Why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Like I built myself up to this point where I'm like, fuck yeah, I did this. I did
Yeah.
this. And you know, like I got a great partner, I have great kids, I have such a great support system, I have such a good sisterhood with Bellatrix girls already. Like, what else is there? And then bam, like you got cancer, bitch. You're like, damn,
That's crazy.
damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
too, like, no one can know how vulnerable it feels unless it's you, right?
Yeah.
And when it's you, I think it's like, because we're all gonna cross that path, whether it's just old age or something. But like, of like thinking to ourselves, like, how much do we really got in us?
Yeah.
Because I think if I heard that today about myself, I'd be like, fuck, how much do I really got in me? You know?
Yeah.
Because I always look at myself as a strong person, but until we're that vulnerable, how do you process like, fuck man, you're gonna have to pick yourself up like for real because ain't nobody coming to save you, and we don't even know if this shit's gonna work.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
Yeah.
like,
Right.
well, fuck it, let's just do it, and then your mother and a wife, so it's like I have to stay. We have pride, right? So we're gonna say we have to stay strong too. So it's at such a young age. So
Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, I give you credit because
Yeah.
it's like I say, I wanted to hear this because there's other women, because it's a common thing, right? Now you're part of like the community of people that have had breast
And
cancer.
it's not that it's a good thing, but you know, like being a part of that community is so hard as well. Like, damn, I went through this, but then good because I'm involved in a community that knows what I've been
Yeah.
through.
Right.
Yeah. And so, like, Bellatrix, they've done a lot to support me during this
Yeah.
period. My family done a lot to support me during this time too. And it's just like looking back, I'm really thankful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because for me, like, I don't feel like I'm a well known person, but kind of just all the fundraisers, all the people that reached out, all the people that have donated, supported. Like, damn, I know that many people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
right.
and that many
Right.
people know me. Like,
And
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
and they're willing
And
to
it's-
step up and do
it's
something to help
heartwarming.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Did you feel like that helped a lot, just having that sisterhood of like people, of like supportive people?
Yes, tremendously. Because again, like going back to that dark spot or that place where I felt like I'm gonna have to do this alone,
Yeah.
which was like, why would you think like that? Because so many people love you.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And so like I was like, I have to do this alone. But then once I started sharing the news to I shared with Bellatrix and like have a whole crying session, and they're like, a lot of them messaged me individually too, like, MK, like
Yeah.
if you need anything, let us know. And so for me, like just having that at the back of my mind, like I have such a strong support system.
Yeah.
So I really
Yeah,
have to
that's
do
awesome.
this too.
Yeah.
Like, what if at the end, it's not even what if anymore. I'm here.
Yeah, right,
yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
yeah.
so like it's like at the end, I can look back and like, damn, so many people love me. So many
Yeah.
people
That's
were
amazing.
rooting for me. Yeah, so
I think it also. I feel. I mean, and tell me if it's true for you or not. But I feel like that would like once you kind of overcome the that hard journey, like it feels like I feel like I would want to give more of myself back.
yes,
Yeah.
To others.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Which
And
maybe
so-
you already did before, right? But
Yeah.
now it's like in a different
mindset.
mindset
Yeah.
that like,
Yeah.
fuck, every one of my friends are gonna go through something really hard as well too.
Yes.
And
yeah.
so
Yeah.
I can't forget when I was in my dark spot, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
for me, like my career as well. So I work with Sherburne County. I'm one of their children's mental health social workers.
Oh, okay.
And so for my career, like I started off wanting to become a police officer.
Yeah.
But then I got into juvenile probation class, and then I was like, no, I want to work with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just reflecting on how I grew up and like just the lack thereof with like the community, parents, no support system when I was younger. And then that was like what geared up my passion to like, let me get into this career. Let me go back into my community and work with kids that are dealing with the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. And so like I already had that mindset, but then going through this, I was like, holy shit, I have a even like bigger passion to be working with people
Yeah.
and be giving
Right.
them my time
And
then-
make a really
Yeah.
good difference. Yeah.
yeah. And so it's rewarding to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a hell of a journey.
Yeah. And where are you now? Like, is there any? I know you said you still have some cells in you.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
any possibility, any chance that it'll ever come back? Or sorry, like I know
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
that's like a wrong question. to
No,
be
no,
honest.
no, no,
Like, I
no.
know-
Yeah. Like, what's a doctor tell you? Like, oh,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
50% chance because you've had it once. Like,
Yeah.
what do they
There
say?
is.
Yeah. What do they say?
I would say 80%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 80% of it not coming back.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
I was like,
I was gonna say 80% of it coming back is
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so
yeah.
80%
Okay.
of it
Beautiful.
not
That's
coming
awesome.
back.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
So,
That's great.
but for me, because I've had it already, there's always a
there's probably a
Yeah.
paranoid that's
yeah,
oh,
there's
it never goes
always
away, huh?
Yeah.
Gonna be a percentage that I may get it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if without the breast.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Go
And so-
somewhere else.
Yes.
Yeah.
And where's your headspace now? I mean, you're very positive. You
Yeah.
know, you're
Yeah.
full of life in you. Like, where's your headspace now? Because you said you were into like a really dark place.
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was the darkest I've ever been. Cause for me, like I love smiling, I love joking around, I love humor. Like for that period, I was just like, no, I wasn't
Yeah.
feeling it.
Yeah.
And
Do you?
so-
Oh, sorry.
yeah, so it was. I mean, it wasn't hard to get out of because I knew what I needed to do. And so, like, for me, in this moment in time, in this period, I'm just so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So positive. So like,
Yeah.
damn, like what else? Life, like I'm
Yeah.
ready for
Yeah.
you.
That's
Awesome. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
like
That's
what
the
else?
thing, man. I think the lens of someone who's gone through something like that, where it's like, where you can, where it's not like, oh, the end is coming. It's like, oh shit, the end is like here. I think, and that's what I'm really curious about is like, how does that change somebody's personality and mindset about just the world, Like, do you trip about little shit anymore? Do you still like, and obviously we're still human beings, so sometimes you're
Yeah,
still gonna
yeah,
trip
yeah.
about something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, did that change stuff like that to you, do you think? Or do you think it's easier to go back to like, I mean, obviously you're still in it now, but
Yeah.
is it, do you feel like you're kind of just going back to how it was, or is like, is it completely new outlook where when you get pissed as shit, you're like, fuck man, it could be worse. I could have been fucking dead already,
Right, yeah,
Like, do you think
no,
like that,
yeah.
or are you going back? Or you sometimes you
I
forget, you
do
gotta
think
remind
like that
yourself.
because it's like I've always been really positive about life, like I said, and it's just like for me looking back last year, it was a hell of a journey,
Yeah.
for sure. And like you said, like nitpicking at these little arguments or these things that does not deserve my time, I'm just like, I ain't got time for it.
Yeah.
I do not have time for it. And so like I'm more focused on just being present, right? And so
Yeah.
like for me, a thing that I used to not do is take pictures, right? And my phone would just have no pictures. Now I'm like, hey, let's take a picture together. Let's,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
do
yeah.
this. Let me record you guys. Like, and so like for me, if anything worse were to happen, like my kids can pick up my phone and be like, oh, mommy did this, mommy did that. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I've been journaling a lot now too. And so like I have like stack of books where I'm just journaling, where there will be letters to me, letters to my
Yeah.
husband, letters to my parents, my sisters, my friends. Like, I'm so proud of you. Like, you've done this. Like, if
Yeah.
one day you find these journals and I'm no longer here, read this shit.
Yeah.
Get this through your mind.
I
Like,
think that's a good message
how I
to
think
put
about
out.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start doing that.
I think that's good to put out for people to listen to because we don't know. We as human beings, we're like faulty in the sense that we always think shit's gonna be fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we never really like truly think about like really you could just step outside your fucking house and some shit hits like a fucking car hits you
Yeah.
Yeah.
or you're hurt. Like for me, I used to work as a firefighter and we used to always deal with like I've seen a lot of people die of all ages. And it's as simple as just an electrical impulse no longer functioning in your heart for your heart to stop. So really, like the odds of us even being here is like crazy that we're still even beating today because the
Yeah.
heart is like the fucking tiny muscle that.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I think that's an important message, like journaling, for example, putting your thoughts out, not just for the other people in your life that I'm sure they'll find a lot of because it would help them heal too, right?
Yeah,
When you
yeah.
pass and they
Yeah.
get to read your messages, it helps them heal and understand what you are going through. But it's also for you as a way to go back and say, "Fuck, man, I was in a bad state at this point in time. How do I compare now? Am I the same? Have I grown from it? Like." I mean, I need to journal more. I don't.
Yeah.
do you-
I need.
I used to, but
Yeah.
Making me realize.
yeah,
Like, holy shit.
I used to, but every time I log into my journal, I'm like, oh shit, 6 months, 6 months since the last entry.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
My
I think-
journal is my phone. My journal is my Facebook.
yeah, it's super important to that, and also like you said, the pictures and videos.
Yeah.
People always. I mean, sometimes I think we think like, oh, you don't got to take a picture of everything now with 2024. But it's like, sometimes it's not like I like to document a lot. And sometimes people are like, oh, you just want to show the whole world. Yeah, maybe because I put it online. But at the same time, it's like my Facebook becomes my memories.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Like my
Yeah.
Facebook
Yes.
is my way of looking back at my life. And at the end of the day, I don't care what you think about my life. But when I become 80, I would love to go back and look at.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully Facebook doesn't go down.
I know, because right now, like, it's storing all of my kids' images. Like, it is like my
Yeah.
diary, essentially.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
all of my most intimate thoughts, essentially.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I post every day of my kids, and one of my favorite things to do is to look at my memories.
Your old photos.
Yeah, and you just see photos like sometimes like your own personal memory fails you, and you don't realize.
Yeah, yeah. Our memories
Yeah.
get faulty too.
Yeah,
You know,
don't
we
realize,
forget
holy
too.
Shit,
Yeah.
how,
We
like
forget.
look at everything that's happened.
Right. Yeah.
You know, just even you coming here and talking about
Yeah.
flag football. Like back in high school, I was like, holy crap, I forgot that was
Yeah.
a thing. Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
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 No, but that's a great reminder for everybody listening. Like take more pictures. And I'm the same way. I mean, it's like sometimes it's easier to take one on Christmas, right? It's very easy to take a family with your parents on Christmas. Or like I see my siblings. It's like you could just take a picture, but we don't. But each time you do, like I try to always think of it like this: like my siblings, I don't see them that much, even though we live close. So if you only see somebody like maybe once a month, which is probably most people, right? Not most people are gonna see their siblings like every day. So then you do the math. You're like, okay, once a month, that's 12 times a year. Maybe add that at 60, that's 150 times. There's 365 days a year. So really, I'm only gonna see them for another 6 months for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so like just breaking it down to realize like, and obviously we're faulty, so it's not like just because I'm aware of this doesn't mean every time I see my siblings I'm like, let's take a
Yeah,
picture.
yeah.
We're still faulty in that
Yeah.
sense that we still forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Because
just a good
A
reminder.
lot of the times when you're in the moment,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not
you don't want to
thinking.
be like,
Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
thinking
yeah.
either.
So it is something that it's hard to forget. I mean, easily forget.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
moving forward, maybe that can be like a goal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be a goal. Should be a goal for everybody.
Yeah.
Should be a goal for
Yeah.
everybody.
Well, speaking of like moving forward, like what's your day to day now? Like you're still very involved with Bellatrix,
Oh,
which is amazing.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing now to like keep your mind like moving forward?
Yeah. There's so many things. So what was it? February? February was my 6 months for healing.
Yeah.
And then February I also started my job
Oh,
with
okay.
Sherburne County.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Kind of just getting back into the routine of things, right? And then February we also started practicing.
Okay.
So I was mobile then. Like my knee wasn't a weak ass little.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I was able to run with them. And I was
That's
like,
amazing.
this
Yeah.
feels so good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to just be out there.
And that's
See
just
these
1
faces.
year. That's
Yeah.
just 1 year, but that's a
6
hell of a
months.
year.
6. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a hell of a year from the first diagnosis all the way back to practice.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Does it give you strength too? To just be
It-
like,
it
man,
sh-
I'm gonna show
it sure
myself.
does.
I'm gonna show the world. I'm gonna show, even if no one's looking, I'm gonna just do it.
Yeah, yeah. Because me and my mindset, like I used to be like, oh, what if they think of me this way? Right? And we all have that kind of
Yeah,
mindset,
yeah.
like growing up. And so now I'm just like, I'm a bad bitch. I know I'm a bad bitch.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah.
I don't get
Yeah.
fucked. Like,
Yeah.
you can say whatever you want to do or say whatever you want to say to me. Like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
what else? What else?
I like to tell
Yeah,
myself
so-
that too.
Yeah.
I'm a bad bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, like every day, day-to-day basis, like I just get up to go to work and, like I drive to work. My drive to work is right when the sun is rising too.
Yeah.
I love
It's a nice
watching-
room.
Wow.
Yeah, I love seeing the sunrise. I love seeing the sunset, and so like just driving to work and seeing the sunrise is like it's a new day.
Yeah,
out there in
fresh
the-
take.
Yeah, you're out there in the country
Fresh
too,
take.
Sherburne
Yes,
County. Yep,
yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
fresh
it's
take.
Beautiful out
yeah.
there.
And your husband through all this,
Yeah.
he
Talk about that.
because that's gonna be hard for him
Yeah.
too.
No, he
What
is-
a guy that
Yeah,
he
Right?
is.
that's gonna be
Yeah.
hard too.
Shout out to
Yeah.
him.
That's
That's gonna be hard too.
that's my man.
Yeah, ride or
And
die,
so
for
like
sure.
we got together really young, right? And so like right away, I already knew like he's the one.
That's awesome.
But like we kind of had our time by ourselves too, and then got back together, and then got married eventually.
Yeah.
And so, the good thing is that through this journey too, like when you find the right partner, and you have that strong relationship with one another, like going through this, you're never alone.
Yeah.
You always have him.
Yeah.
And so, like for me and my husband, he's really quiet. But then once you get to know him, he's talkative, and so I already knew. I already knew like he was struggling through it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like you've been together long enough that you could pick up signs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like I can tell that he was struggling through it. So for me, as like with the social worker mindset, right, the counseling
Yeah.
mindset, I'm already asking like, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, how are you dealing with things? Like, is there things that we should be reviewing and reflecting on, or what can we do to really help you relieve from your stress, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I wasn't working. He was the only one that was maintaining the job, and then he was also then going to doctor's appointments with me.
Yeah.
And
Right,
then taking
yeah.
care of the kids too.
What
Yeah.
a stud.
Yeah, right. And he's a cutie.
Yeah.
And so like it's like he's done so much for me. Like how can I support him so he can have individual time, me time
Yeah.
to really work on himself. So he's a hunter. He loves hunting. He does like duck hunting, goose hunting,
Yeah.
squirrel hunting, any kind of hunting.
Yeah.
And so like just being able to support him in buying his guns, his
Yeah.
access to all these hunting gears and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like
Man, we gotta have him on. Yeah.
stop, he's shy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I will support him in that, right? And
Yeah.
that's how he go and relieve his stress and his
Yeah.
just being overwhelmed and things like that. Like take time, just go. Like if
Yeah.
you need to go, go.
Which is it's weird because you go through a lot mentally, and so like you're really fighting, but your partner, we cannot weigh out how much stress or how deep the impact is in them. They may say one thing,
Yeah.
But you can tell.
but you can you can say, but maybe they're going to a deeper depression than you, because maybe you're in fight mode, like we gotta fight this time, a fight, and maybe for them, instead of thinking like that, they're like really down,
Yeah. For me, like I feel like he was thinking the future. Like, what if my wife
Right,
died?
right.
What am I
Right.
gonna do? And so like right after I got my diagnosis, I went through all of our like bills, our what is it? Our bank accounts, anything that has passwords, right?
Yeah.
I wrote them all down
Yeah.
for him. And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's in this book, okay? Like,
Yeah.
if you want to go check our mortgage, our
Yeah.
taxes, like it's all in here. Like, I have everything filed up for him. Like, these are all
Oh my
files.
God.
This is for our son Liam. This is for our daughter
Yeah,
Leah.
yeah.
And so, like, if you need anything, it's all in here, okay? And then this is the book that has all the passwords right here, okay? And then I guess that kind of made him more scared too. Like,
Yeah.
shit,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
if-
This is reality.
what
Yeah.
if she did die?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and I was like, no, it's not thinking like that. It's just more so we're prepared.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
like with chemo and all this medicine going into my body too, like one of the biggest side effects of it is brain fog too.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
being
for
very
sure, for sure.
Forgetful.
Yeah.
And so like I was like, let me get all this stuff done before like I don't remember shit.
Yeah, I would no, I would fear that. I would fear that a lot, because your brain is everything, right?
Yeah.
Your clarity, how you think, how you rationalize, how you judge, your judgment. All those things are so key. And if those go away, man, you're not the same human being anymore.
Yeah.
And so like maybe you, like you say, like you did the right thing where you write it while you know that your mind is still sharp.
Yeah.
Like, let's write all this shit down just in case, because I don't know how this medicine is gonna really do it,
Yeah,
right? The
yeah.
doctor tells you like, yeah, the side effects are this. Oh, but sometimes for some people it's also this and this. Like, well,
Right.
fuck, maybe I'm some people.
Yeah.
You know,
You
it's
never
like
know,
you never
yeah.
know. So
That's awesome. I realized I don't know none of my passwords either. So
yeah,
You saying that was like,
I think
oh,
we
shit,
all
there's
just need to
something ever
prepare a
happened.
little
I
bit
think-
more.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
do
Yeah, we
feel
all
good.
need to prepare a little
Yeah.
bit more. But
Yeah, no, I feel like we're kind of in the age where it's like it's coming.
yeah.
We're not young anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, we are.
I
but, yeah.
think it,
Yeah.
I
it
like
should
to
be
say
done
no.
even as early as like 21, man.
Yeah.
As early as possible.
Yeah.
It doesn't take. It should. We're taking a lesson here from you as well. That like
Yeah.
the problem is humans. We always just think like, we tomorrow,
Yeah.
Yeah.
tomorrow.
We have time.
Yeah, tomorrow.
We have time. Yeah.
And it's
Can I
like
ask-
not always that.
This to like, are we seeing younger and younger people getting cancer?
Yes. Yep.
So is that a trend?
The numbers
now?
for younger people getting cancer is going higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And for me, like I have this part of me where I have like this survivor's guilt almost
Yeah.
because women my age that has cancer, you see a lot of them die.
They go, yeah.
Yeah.
And so like
Is it just because they're not catching it early enough? They're not thinking about
that
it.
could be it too. Like in our culture, like for a lot of us, like they Mong chua is gonna work.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
We want to do all this Hmong stuff first,
Yeah.
like hupli, oneng, and like ho chua and all that stuff to see
Yeah.
if it'll disappear.
Right.
And for
But
me,
you're
right
losing
away, I
out
was
on
like,
time.
no, take that
Yeah,
shit
yeah,
out.
yeah.
No, because you're
Yeah.
losing out on time. If you go like,
Yes.
let's do Eastern holistic medicine.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now it's been 6 months. The shit just grew from this to this.
Yeah.
We missed
Now you're
out on
staged.
time.
Yeah.
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 So yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
tough.
a lot of younger ages, I feel like it's what we're intaking for sure.
Mm. Yeah.
The food that we're eating, and like again, we think we have time,
Yeah.
so we're not taking care of ourselves.
Nah,
right now.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you got to plug with this guy. He's
Yeah.
a organic farmer.
Another reason to
Shameless
move
plug.
to the farm. Yeah,
No,
another
but it's
reason
true.
to move
No,
to the
but
farm and
it's true
grow
too.
your own
Like I
food.
think like that too. But I don't do the effort, but I do think so.
Yeah,
So I'm not doing it. I'm just thinking. But I always think that too. I'm like, bro, all this shit they're feeding us has hella shit in it.
Yeah.
So like, I should be going to my buddy paying more. But most of us don't do it because it's more work. Like
Yeah.
I got to go to my
Yes,
buddy's farm
yeah.
to get some fresh shit. It's
Yeah.
more work. But so then we accept the easy, which is go to Cubs. But then you're like, bro,
What am I
this
eating?
fucking chicken's
Yeah, what
got
am
a
I
big ass
actually
thigh
buying?
like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like what you
Yeah.
put in this.
I can
Yeah.
tell you, none of my chickens have.
Yeah,
look
your,
like
your
that.
chicken breast looks like this, not like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so and the thing is like we don't know. I think about this all the time. Sometimes I'm like, man, we don't know, but we still do it. But we don't know, like,
But we do it out of convenience.
yeah. And I'm not a
Yeah.
scientist. I can't fucking examine this chicken breast for what it was all put in
Yeah.
it. We don't know what Tyson's
Yeah.
doing.
Because also, if we spend all the time doing that, now we just don't have time for anything else. You know,
Yeah.
if we just spend all that time just worrying.
And they
about
make it
that.
more expensive when you want to buy
Yeah.
something organic. They make it
Yeah,
way more
yeah.
expensive too. So it's like,
That's true. Yeah.
but yeah, no, I agree that we don't know, and I'm sure that made you question a lot. I can only imagine your brain, the amount of things it thinks of when in the last year,
Yeah.
in the last year, the
No,
amount
and
of thinking it
During
went
that
through.
time, I was like, not at my heaviest, but I did not like how I looked.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, like I'm already bald. Why I gotta be fat?
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Little
yeah,
booty.
yeah.
Yeah. And so like right off of chemo, right, I started eating cleaner.
Yeah.
I started, like and taking a lot more greens and doing my vitamins and things like that. And so like I shed off a lot of weight too. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're feeling like the positives
Yeah,
coming
I'm
back.
proud of
Yeah.
myself, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Well, it's also I think the attitude. You seem like you have a pretty like fighter's
Yeah.
attitude
From
and-
the beginning.
and
yeah.
from sports,
Yeah.
from everything, right? You play sports early on, and so, and I think the girls on your team too. I'm sure they look at it as like there's a leadership in that journey
Yeah.
as well. That like, look, I
What an
overcame
inspiration,
it, run
too.
another lap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, what an
Yeah.
inspiration
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
them
and
to
for
have
me
you around.
too, like I'm just like if I'm out here and I'm running, all you guys should be running.
Yeah, they ain't got
Yeah,
no
yeah,
excuses.
yeah, yeah.
Just
Ain't
kidding.
no excuses.
But
yeah.
I love them. I was captain a few years back too, before we, initially move up to different captains. So we would take like every 3-4 years to stick with the same captains. And so like for me, like I was already engaging, having that voice and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
connecting and
Yeah.
advocating for our team. And so like now just being the person on the backside and being able to watch everything come to be what we are now, and also just being like an inspiration for the girls
Yeah.
too. Like
Yeah.
if you ever need to talk, I'm here. Hey.
Well, you inspired me.
Yeah,
You
for sure,
inspired me
for sure.
today. We're coming up here, hour 25, so we
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
had a good conversation. But
Yeah.
first of all, I'll let you close, but I just want to say thank you for coming here and sharing your story. Thank you for being vulnerable, shedding a few tears. I know you told me before
Yeah.
that she told me before on the phone. She was like, I might start crying. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's all good. But I appreciate you sharing this with us, who we are complete strangers to you.
Yeah.
And so for you to come and actually be vulnerable in front of a camera that we know is going to go in front of more people. But I think that I take a lot of strength in you, the fact that you're able to do this and share it out there, because it's something real, and it's something that I don't think every Hmong person out there had. I've never, in my family or friends, never had somebody close tell me a story this intimately. And so I think I learned a lot today too. Like the biggest thing I learned is I should write more shit in my
Yeah,
journal,
yeah.
and I need to go back through all my passwords.
Yeah,
Make
for
sure
real.
it's clean.
Yeah,
So so thank you from my part. I'll let Payne close the podcast.
Yeah, I don't have much. I really appreciate you coming in and sharing your story with that with us. I think that's amazing. And yeah, you continue to serve as an inspiration to you and your team, your kids. Me as a father now, like I think about a lot of that stuff now. So just kind of hearing your perspective on that it was beautiful. But yeah, like if people wanted to check you out, where can they find you? What's coming up here? I know that Ishineng's got a tournament coming up
Yes,
here
yeah.
on July 4th. Are you guys gonna play in that as well?
Ooh, okay. So
Okay, maybe we won't get into that, but
yeah,
check
I was-
out Bellatrix.
Yeah, Bellatrix, we are on Facebook, so definitely check us out. Our captains are Ong, Lolly and Melissa, and then our coaches are Mike, Victor, and Mimi. We have a really good system going right now. So if you guys feel like you have ladies that want to come join the football team, definitely
Hell yeah.
connect with us. And then for Memorial Weekend, yes, we are planning to play with Ishineng. Uh, Ichineng. Yeah,
Ichineng. Oh,
yeah.
shit, my bad.
Ishineng, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
Ishineng.
radio show, ain't it?
Yeah.
Like back in the day.
It's a song.
Oh, okay,
Oh.
okay.
Yeah, so we do plan to play Memorial Weekend, and then July 4th it's still in the talks, but we
Okay.
usually do the Memorial, the J4th, Walsall, and then
Yeah.
ending it with just Labor Day. And so we do plan to be out there. We are selling fan shirts right now, so get connected with one of the Bellatrix girls if you want to be in blue and orange. And then what else? I guess I can say I just want to give you guys another shout out for having me here and giving me this platform to kind of just talk about women's flag football and then about my story as well. And it's a great thing that you guys have
Yeah.
going. So
Yeah.
it's exciting.
Thank you.
And then just shout out to Bellatrix,
Ballot. Hey.
and then also Baby Daddy, backbone to everything.
There you go.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Well,
much,
thank
man.
you. And
Yeah.
thank you guys for listening. I hope you all learned something like we did. So
Absolutely.
till next time, I'll check you guys out next time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let's take a picture.